Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you once again. It's really exciting to have seen the new year, and I'm sure that we're all grateful for life. 2020 was a very tumultuous year, and for us to see this new year is enough reason for us to be thankful. Thank you for joining the 25th edition of the Access Business webinar. The Access Business webinar is brought to you by the Access SMEZone, where we help SMEs and entrepreneurs with insights and business information for them to improve their capacity in the way they do their business. Now, 2020 was a year where many of us, we cannot forget in a hurry. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic led to the death of thousands of people and caused a global economic shock, which resulted in recessions in many countries across the world. And of course, in proportions that have never been seen in decades. So while we'll continue to weather the storm, we must also remain defiant and optimistic, about the future outlook of our businesses. This year will be a defining year for many businesses, and we expect to see a lot of consolidation in the innovations that have happened in 2020. Of course, a lot of companies decided to go digital, which was, of course, made urgent by the pandemic. And we expect to see a lot of new COVID millionaires emerge in 2021 as well. So today, I have with us a lot of amazing guests who will be discussing the topic, which is, of course, the 2021 checklist for SMEs, financials, tax, and goals. My name is Chibueze Ewuzie. I'm a product manager at Access Bank PLC, and I will be your host for today. Before I proceed to introducing our guest for today, I would just like to lay some ground rules for our participants to take note of so that we can have a smooth session today. So first and foremost, please use the chat box where you can share your comments, questions, and any feedback that you might have. Don't forget to include your name and designation. Okay, so when you're sending your feedback, please make sure that you give us your name, the name of your organization, and your designation. So it could be Mark Smith, CEO of Fifi Designs. That's an analogy here. Thirdly, please note that for the questions and feedback that you might share with us, we would have to screen them, and of course, only the ones that fit the narrative for today's session that we will share with all of you. At the end of the session, we would have enough time, as time would allow anyway, for us to take a bit of questions from our participants. So please stay tuned, grab a jotter, grab a pen, because there will be a lot of amazing insights that would help your business in 2021. So, like I said earlier on, the topic for today's session is the 2021 checklist for SMEs, financials, tax, and goals. And to help make sense of this topic, I'll introduce our very first guest, which is Taiwo Oyedele. He's the fiscal policy partner and West Africa tax leader at PwC. He's the chairman of the COVID-19 Intervention Committee for PwC West Africa. He's the author of Insights on Taxation and Fiscal Policy, Top 50 Tax Issues in Nigeria, the Nigerian Transfer Pricing chapter of the IBFD publication, and a contributor to the annual Doing Business reports of the World Bank. He's a prominent speaker at conferences and a regular guest on various business and economy programs on TV, radio, and online media. He's the research director for the Fiscal Policy Roundtable of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. He's also a member of the ACCA Global Governing Council, chairman of the ICANN Taxation and Fiscal Policy Faculty Board, and a member of the Ministerial Committee on the Implementation of Nigeria's National Tax Policy. Taiwo is an alumnus of the London School of Economics, Yale University, and Harvard Kennedy School. He's the founder and president of Impact Africa Foundation. Please let's make welcome Taiwo. Taiwo, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Next, of course, is our very own Ayo Olojede, who is the group head emerging business at Access Bank PLC. She's responsible for the strategy formulation to deliver the bottom line factor of the division. Ayo has over 18 years of operational banking experience in Africa and North America at HSBC and Skybank, now Polaris. Prior to joining Access Bank, she's very passionate about the sustainable growth of MSMEs and possesses strong knowledge and hands-on experience of best practices in SME banking and risk management approaches to expand financial access to SMEs and women-led businesses. Her work has achieved recognition for best-in-class SME-specific credit assessments methodology, both locally and internationally, to expand lending to new to borrowing SMEs. She is a university scholar, a fellow chartered accountant, and holds an MBA degree from the Kellogg School of Management. She speaks globally on SME finance and business services. So please let's make welcome Ayo. Ayo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Achibeze. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Ayo.
Awesome. So our third guest is Olaitan Osho. Olaitan is the head of bank assurance at Access Bank. She's a seasoned banker with over 17 years professional experience in the financial sector, cutting across retail banking, financial control, risk management, as well as private banking and relationship management. She began her work experience in the financial sector in 2004 with Guarantee Trust Bank before moving to Standard Chartered Bank. Olaitan has a Bachelor's of Science in Statistics from University of Ibadan and a Master's in Business Administration from the Pre-Fiscal Bangor University, Bangor in the UK. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She also has a Master's in Transformational Leadership from Redeemers International Leadership Academy. She's very passionate about helping individuals and businesses build, manage, and preserve their wealth. And she does this primarily by providing a bouquet of investment services tailored to the investment needs of her clients. Thank you, Olaitan, for joining us on today's session.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
All right. So I'm very excited to be here. Just as a reminder, I want to just let all our participants to know that they can use the Q&A chat box. So drop your comments, drop your suggestions, drop your feedback so that we can take them at the end of the session. Taiwo, I'll come to you now. Now, our president signed the Finance Bill 2020, which is now the Finance Act into law on the 31st of December 2020. But it was actually supposed to commence on the 1st of January this year. Now, the Act introduces significant changes to a number of tax and regulatory laws in Nigeria, including the introduction of the COVID-19 incentives alongside other changes. Can you just help us make sense of this new bill and what does this new Finance Act mean to the average Nigerian?
Thank you very much. So I think a good starting point is to try and look at the objectives behind the Finance Act. And one of those objectives, including the fact that Nigeria has suffered greatly from COVID-19, both in terms of the virus itself and the impact on our lives and livelihood, and also on businesses, especially SMEs. So one of the objectives of the Finance Act 2020, which takes effect from January 1 this year, is to help businesses recover and also to stimulate the economy in a way that will create more employment, that would create economic prosperity and just support people who are trying to thrive in what they do. And a very good overview of the law would suggest that some of those objectives have been also interpreted properly in the amendments that have been made into the law. So I'll focus on a few of them, particularly those that are most relevant to SMEs, who are the main focus of this session today, for which I need to actually commend Access Bank for putting this together. One of the things we've seen, and those of us who do a lot of this public engagement, is that many SMEs are not even aware of the provisions in the law. So I see ignorance is a big problem, because you then suffer unknowingly when you already have the law on your side, or you may find a corrupt, and there's so many of them, you may find a corrupt tax officer exploit you because they know you are not aware, and then you start begging them and you pay a bribe that you don't need to pay. So some of the exemptions are, number one, the 2019 Finance Act exempted small companies from paying company income tax, and they don't need to charge VAT. So if you're selling goods and services as a small company, you don't need to charge VAT. And you're a small company if your turnover, your sales is less than 25 million in a year. If your sales is more than that, between 25 and 100 million, you have to charge VAT. It's now 7.5%, but your company income tax will be reduced from 30% to 20%. Now, if your business is not registered with CAC as a limited liability company, then you still have to pay your income tax, but to the state. This 2020 Finance Act added more to those incentives. One include exemption from education tax. So if you have a company and you're a small company, you don't have to pay education tax. And for your employees, if you pay your staff 30,000 naira per month or less, like 28,000, 25,000, effective from this month, you no longer have to deduct PAYE on their income, because their income is now tax-free. And you also have, for those who file returns with the CAC and with FRS, now you no longer need to prepare audited accounts. So audited account is no longer compulsory, so that can save you money, but you still have to keep records. That's really important. And I know we come back to that later on. There are also provisions now that allow you to interact and exchange communication with the tax authority via email. So it's not every time you have to enter traffic and go to the tax office. The law now backs you to be able to communicate with them via email, and will be accepted for all purposes, including for legal reasons. If you import vehicles, I know most SMEs don't buy new vehicles, but if you buy new vehicles, the import duties have been reduced. The duty really hasn't been reduced, but the import levy has been reduced from 35% to 5%. So that's a significant reduction. And if you are involved in agricultural production, you can now enjoy pioneer status, which means a period for which you don't pay income tax of up to six years. And of course, if you lease tractors and agricultural equipment, you not pay VAT on the lease of those items from whoever you are leasing them from. And of course, another important provision is that for small businesses, now, if you make any donations, I don't know whether you make donations for COVID-19, you can get a deduction. So these are some of the good developments in the law that would affect small businesses that they need to be aware of.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, from everything you've said, I mean, clearly, there's a lot that small businesses need to be excited about, because you've clearly mentioned a lot of things that would help help them in their businesses to, of course, remain resilient despite the current economic situation. But however, how do we expect this provision to kind of impact the way small businesses operate? And what are their tax obligations going forward?
Yes. So for small businesses, unfortunately, all the studies we have conducted, including very recently, we conducted a study for the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, again, focusing on SMEs. All of these studies are very consistent in saying that there's multiple taxation in Nigeria. Nobody seems to know all the taxes that companies and small businesses need to pay. Officially, that list is over 60. Unofficially, it's over 300, just to give you an idea. Many of those taxes are not legitimate, which means there's no law backing them up. But really, to be honest, from a practical point of view, if you are running a business or you put your wares by the roadside and somebody comes to collect 200 naira, 400 naira, 500 naira, and if you don't give them, they take your items and walk away, quoting the law there is not going to help you. But if we just stick with what is legitimate, which is what the law says you should do, most of the important taxes for small businesses are around VAT, around PAYE for their staff and for themselves. They need to also pay personal income tax as the owner of the business. You have, for those who have limited liability companies, company income tax, education tax, and then you have levies. Some of them are to do with business premises permits. Some of them are levies for government to certify what you do. Like if you use water in your production process, you have a government agency that will certify that the water is fit for consumption. And for those who move things around, logistic, transportation, you pay various fees as you move along. Now, the most important ones for the question you asked, and how would these reforms and incentives impact on small businesses? One, you have to have the knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, it means that we're saying from now on, if your business is really small, you don't need to charge VAT. So just sell your goods and services and don't worry about charging VAT. That is a burden taken off you. If you have a limited liability company and you're a small company, you don't have to pay company income tax, but you still have to file returns. So which means you must understand how to prepare your accounts or get someone to help you, and you submit it to the authorities. And when it comes to the personal income tax, for example, my experience is that many small businesses are the ones who pay salaries of 25,000, 20,000, 30,000. Big companies don't pay those kind of small salaries. And many of those small businesses actually don't pay the PAYE. But the problem they then face is because the tax authorities know that they are not compliant, whenever they come, they take advantage of them. So, guy, you never pay. They then overestimate the amount you're supposed to pay. They can tell you are owing government 5 million naira. You start negotiating. When you finish negotiating, maybe it's 500,000 naira, maybe it's 1 million naira. Now, what we're saying now is, based on this new law, you can easily say to whoever comes to you to say, government and the law has now said you don't have to pay PAYE. Of course, if you have employees who are earning 50K and 60,000, you must pay PAYE. So don't misquote me to say you no longer have to pay PAYE. We're saying only on those low income earners. So not just knowing what you need to do and being able to challenge when people come and ask you for things that don't make sense. And sometimes just saying, can you identify yourself properly? Which tax office are you from? Can you tell me the law you're trying to enforce? What's the basis for this? If I pay, can I get a receipt from government? Those questions, and you don't have to be a lawyer to ask them, can easily make people realize you're not a person they can just come and extort money from anyhow. So these are some of the things I would recommend for those who are participating on this conference.
Okay, thank you. The issue of multiple taxation is, it's been ongoing for a very long time. And to be honest, I think a lot of business owners, like you said, when it comes to those agents coming to your business, it's not a time for you to be quoting the law. So I believe that the government has to take responsibility for streamlining, what should a business owner pay as tax. Is there something that the government is doing, to kind of streamline this process so that it is very clear for everybody that, look, this is what the government has approved, and this is what you're expected to pay, versus having random people showing up with phony ID cards demanding this X naira or that to as a way to line their own pockets. What do you think the government is doing in that regard?
Yeah, government is trying to do a few things. The process is very slow, it's long, it's complicated because, for most of these reforms, you need all the states to come on board, the local government, people come from different political parties. If you recommend anything, even when it makes sense, they're looking at who is saying it rather than what is being said. But what I can tell you is that there's an ongoing reform to try and harmonize the number of taxes. One of the things people like me have said is you have to put that into the constitution, not even a law. You need to get it into the constitution so that the number of taxes that can be imposed will be few. I'm recommending it should be single digits. So every level of government cannot impose more than 9 taxes maximum. And then you have to use technology and outlaw cash collection. And we've seen some states like Kaduna State, they've done a very good job of outlawing, cash collection and using technology. And technology is not going to the internet. It could be just using SMS on your mobile phone. As a result of that, their tax collection has gone up and they have not asked anybody to pay more taxes than they were paying before. So some of these reforms are ongoing. I do agree with you that the primary responsibility to fix the system rests with government. But I would also say for SMEs, they need to use their platforms. I know they have all manners of associations. Use those associations. You find someone there who has the knowledge, or they have a brother or sister who has the knowledge to help you put your issues together, and you challenge the authorities. So you can have a session with the local government to discuss the issues and ask them to clarify what you need to pay and why you need to pay it, and the process for paying. At what time of the year should you pay? How much should you pay? How is that determined? Go to state as well, because if you say you are in a body of SMEs, anybody will listen to you, because at least politicians want to pretend like they're listening to you. So you can ride on the back of that to get some of the issues and challenges sorted.
All right, thank you so much. I can see a lot of activity in the chat box, so I can tell that a lot of SMEs are really interested about this topic. But Ayo, let me just come to you for a moment now. One of the key things that Taiwo has raised is the need for enlightenment. Businesses need to be aware of this new policy. How is Access Bank helping its customers to get informed, also understand what are the requirements that they need to have in order to adequately have their tax business handled adequately. So can you just tell us, please?
All right, thank you very much, Chibeze. I think your question, even by what it is that we're doing today, is already a response to the fact that at Access Bank, we are very, very passionate about MSMEs. We're very passionate about them. We're very passionate about bringing them, exposing them to initiatives that would help them to be able to get informed. And one of such is this issue of tax. With the release of the new Finance Act 2020, we thought it was imperative for us to bring here a tax expert, no other person than Taiwo, to be able to help educate our customers. Taiwo said something when he was talking about the fact that a lot of MSMEs are typically very ignorant, and that in itself is a problem, because what you do not know is sufficient to be able to kill you and to be able to kill your business. So one of the things that we do at Access Bank is that customer education, it's very paramount for us, and that's something that we're going to be driving very critically this year. Another area that we know that impact MSMEs that they also need to take seriously is how they protect their business. So there were some events. 2020 was a year that redefined a lot of perspective, especially for small business owners. So we would also be talking to our customers about how they need to be able to protect their business. And that's one of the things that we want to talk about here today. All of these are all geared towards helping customers, to make sure that their business is positioned, for growth. Now, let's look at 2020 and some of the lessons that we learned, from 2020. How do you want your business to thrive in 2021? How do you want to grow your business in 2021? How do you want to increase your sales in 2021? one of the things to really be able to do, apart from the fact that you have to get yourself educated, you know, on the imperatives that is happening in the market, is also how you are strategic about the positioning of your business, how you are redirecting your business to ensure that the event of 2020, God, if they happen again, I mean, we still have the pandemic is still with us, and it's changing or has changed, you know, the dynamics of how we interact, the dynamics of how we buy and sell. So one of our responsibilities at Access Bank is to also be able to like ensure that we support our customers, you know, accordingly. And we have recently introduced a new tool that we call SwiftPay. It's a payment link. So one of the trends in the market today is that we found that there's been an increase of about 50% in online sales, and that's it's quite heartwarming when you consider the fact that brick and mortar is the mainstay of a lot of MSMEs. But the fact that you have about 50% increments in online activity just tells you that being able to position your business online is not as intimidating as anyone would have thought. It's not so much about, it's not so much as time consuming as anyone would have thought. Now, just saying that you should move your business online, you probably will, a lot of people will have so many things running through their mind and wondering, how will I be able to do that? It's as simple as you being, leveraging your presence on Facebook to be able to sell, leveraging your presence on Instagram to be able to sell, leveraging your WhatsApp to just be able to sell. And even if you also decide that you want to be able to build a website, your own website, you can also do so. And it does not mean that you will stop selling through your brick and mortar store. It just means that you're looking at complements of alternatives and options of channels that would help you to be able to increase the number of customers that you can sell to. You're looking at alternatives and options that would ensure that the cash, they keep coming. Talking about being able to create your own website, and Access Bank, we can help you to be able to build a website for as low as 15,000 naira. And yes, you heard me right. For as low as 15,000 naira, you can we can work with you to build you know, your online presence. Now, whether you are on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on WhatsApp, or whether you even have your own website and online presence, one thing is critical. You want to make sure that you get paid. Now, let me just create a scenario here for a lot of us that are familiar with, or that a lot of us are familiar with. You want to make a purchase on Instagram. The first thing that you do is that you identify the item on the page of the vendor. You then begin to send DMs to the merchant about the particular item. If you're lucky, that particular item may even be out of stock. So you have to go back to the Instagram page to go and get an alternative item. Sometimes the vendor does not even respond to you until probably the following day because they are responding to several DMs. And then they end up exchanging account numbers. You exchange account numbers. I've also received feedback from some vendors or from some individuals who make purchases to say that you know, there's a rise of business impersonation, business identity theft on the social media, and that's a concern when you want to pay, so that I don't also pay into the wrong account. So, as a responsible organization that cares for our MSMEs, we've introduced this new tool, SwiftPay, that helps our customers to be able to get paid, whether you're on Instagram. It's just a link, and I would ask that we put up the link now. It's just a link that you can send to your customers to get paid. If it's hosted on your social media profile, your customers do not even have to send you any DM. They just click on it, the item that they want to buy, and then they can pay you, you know, easily. So this is one solution that we have been able to introduce into the market, and based on the feedback that we have received, customers are quite excited about it. And today, I'm also, you know, in a very good mood to be able to give away vouchers of up to 5,000 naira if you sign up today and you make a comment about it on social media. So please, Chibize, can you? Okay, yeah, that's it. swiftpay.accessbankplc.com. All you need to do is click on this. With less than 5 minutes, you'll be able to sign up. I want for anyone who's been able to click on it to just send a comment on the chat box to let me know that you have signed up.
All right, thank you very much, Ayo. I think you raised some very important points, especially with the service that SweetPay offers. Something that it also does for small businesses is to enable them have records, of their sales, and which brings us back to the issue of taxation. I think it's very critical that businesses have records. The importance of financials cannot be overstated. However, a lot of companies struggle with this scale. Taiwo, can you just kind of enlighten our participants a bit on how they can simplify the process of, putting their books in order, getting their financials ready, so that at the end of the year, because this is a new financial year, and if these businesses don't start now to have the tools that they require, just like SwiftPay offers, then of course by January again, it will now be chaos all over again. However, can you just give us a few tips how we can simplify that process so that the businesses that are tuned in can also learn?
Yeah, Chibueze, I'm sorry, just before Taiwo comes on, I also just wanted to mention, because what you said now about reporting is very, very critical, and that this particular solution that I was talking about also has a tool for reporting. So for every sale that you make, you'll be able to see a report on your daily sales. You'll be able to see a report on a monthly basis. So it solves this problem of bookkeeping, the rigor and the burden of bookkeeping. You just need to just be able to bring that together at the end of the month, and then you have it's very transparent and quite easy. So I'll let Taiwo speak more to why keeping records, and even most of the time what you find that MSMEs do is that they want to hide. But then Taiwo is going to talk to us about why being transparent about your records even helps you to pay lesser taxes. So Taiwo, over to you.
All right, Taiwo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ayo. So the starting point is always the willingness to do the right thing. And the good thing about doing the right thing is that it also helps your own business. If you are doing a business of hide and seek, it's actually a business that you don't want it to grow. You cannot find any large company today that is doing hide and seek. You actually want people to know what you do. You want your records to be open. COVID-19 has also made it now more difficult for those who want to hide, because a lot of the transactions people were doing in cash before, they're having to do them online, and people are paying you online using their cards and all of that. So I think the starting point is you have to acknowledge and accept that hiding is not the right thing to do, and of course, it's not sustainable. Plus, it will make you pay even more. We've seen so many, if I'm giving you examples, we spend 1 hour here, where people have actually, by hiding, once in a while, they will pay an amount to get out of trouble, because the authorities know that you're hiding. So when they come, you don't have records to show them. They say, "Oh, God, you're supposed to pay 2 million, but I just want to help you pay 500. You negotiate, you pay 200, you feel like you have a deal. Actually, if you kept your record, maybe you're supposed to pay 20,000. So that willingness to keep record and do the right thing is very important. The second point would be, you must be deliberate in separating personal life, pleasure from business. Don't mix things up. So if you're paying the school fees of your kid, that's not a business expense. Don't go and record it as an expense of the business. In fact, if you have friends and guests visiting you and they're taking your product, let's say you run a restaurant and they eat food, you should pay for that food, because it's personal and you should not record it against the business. So you must find a way to separate personal from business life in terms of how you keep your record. Number 3 is find an easy way to help yourself with record keeping. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's so important. Even when you want to grow your business and you need to take additional funding or finance, they will always ask you for your record. So don't feel like you're keeping record because of government. You're actually keeping it for yourself. Reporting to government is a secondary requirement. So what you need to do is use cards. I mean, ATM card or bank cards. Make sure that when you want to pay someone, just do online transfer. Don't pay them cash. And when you're doing the online transfer, describe what you're paying for. And you don't have to write it in Queen's English. It can be Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. Just write what you're paying for, right? It could be that we're paying for petrol, we're paying for diesel, write it like that. Now, what that does is, even if you struggle to keep your record, what you just need to do is get your bank statement and the statement for your card, and you can pick, the expenses you have incurred. As much as possible, use POS to collect sales revenue or payment from your customers, or let them pay into your bank account, things that you can track. And try as much as possible on a monthly basis to just cross-check your sales, your expenses, and whether you have any profit. Sometimes you find by doing that exercise, some expenses that you can cut down on. And also, I always say in terms of tips for keeping record and gaining tax advantages, if you buy fuel for your car, for example, just collect the receipt. By law, that receipt for buying fuel is tax deductible. What that means is it will help you reduce your taxes. Imagine you don't collect the receipt, then you can't deduct it. You're wasting money that you should not waste at all. So when you buy generator, collect the receipt. You buy diesel, collect the receipt. Even your recharge card, I'll say you should get a postpaid plan so that they can give you a statement. The money you spend for buying recharge card is claimable. Maintaining your car, all that are claimable. So you must be able to keep those records so you can enjoy the benefits of those expenses when you indeed file your tax returns. So maybe the last point I'll make on, financials is the fact that you should be willing to make some little investment, and that could be to buy a small software or application, or you can subscribe to a platform where they can help you prepare your account without you having to hire an accountant. Small businesses cannot afford to hire an accountant, and they can't afford to pay big firms like PwC that I work for. But you must find providers along the line that can help you accomplish your objective in a way that is affordable.
All right, to everyone listening, what Taiwo is trying to say is that record keeping is very crucial to your business. Record keeping is crucial to taxation at the end of the year. So please, I hope we are taking notes. I see a lot of questions in the chat box. But before we come to you and take those questions, we still have Olaiton Osho with us, who will be speaking very shortly on how you can secure your business against unforeseen circumstances. Before we come to Olaiton, I want to just ask Taiwo one question. Taiwo, there are other economic indicators that, of course, can impact SMEs throughout the year. Can you give us speak on a few of them? And of course, how can SMEs monitor them to be able to understand them and know how to, be dynamic in making changes, that can reduce, unfortunately, sometimes adverse effects of these economic indicators, or take advantage of them, to boost their business?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So a lot of things happen in the economy from time to time. So SME owners and managers need to pay attention to what's happening all around them, because those things would affect them either directly or indirectly. So I'll list a few of them. One is the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. I know it's a long name. We just call it AFTA. And this simply means that Nigeria, along with other 53 countries in Africa, have agreed to come together and promote trade, particularly international trade. So what that means is even small businesses, and we have some studies that show the percentage of small businesses that are into export. If you start thinking about now, what can you export to Ghana, to Benin Republic? Because they are the plan is to remove all the hurdles you face, including taxes, including tariff and non-tariff barriers. So it should be easy for you to do exports. So this is the time to start planning for those exports. We also have things to do with the border closure that has now been partially opened. So for that, certainly you need to also bear in mind how that would affect you and what you need to do to be able to take advantage of it, both in terms of import as well as export that you have to do. So also you find sometimes it's CBN policy. CBN will say, oh, actually, you can take this credit facility from Bank of Industry, Bank of Agri, and then you need to be able to prepare yourself, including your account must be ready to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. So those are some of the few things that I believe will be useful for SMEs in terms of the other policies. Sorry, I need to quickly join another session. Maybe I'll rejoin later if that is okay. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we'll just move over to Olaiton. She is the head of bank assurance here at Access Bank, and she'll be speaking to us very briefly on how we can secure our businesses from unforeseen circumstances. Olaiton, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Chief Wizzy. I would like to say Happy New Year to everybody, and I'm welcoming everybody to this session once again. My name is Olaiton Shaw, the head of bank assurance, and I will be talking to us about mitigating against risk. So what does that simply mean? Day to day, we all wake up, we leave our homes at various locations to other locations. We don't know what's going to happen between point A and point B, where we're moving to. But one thing we know for certain is that uncertainties happen, which is what we also call risk. Now, for one thing we know for certain, there are various insurance companies out there that can help mitigate against such risk, meaning they can help protect us against unforeseen circumstances that we cannot predict in the future, immediately, in the few weeks, the few months, or few years. But we have a partnership with a sister company called Coronation Insurance. Coronation Insurance used to be known as WAPIC Insurance. They changed their name just in the month of November, December last year. And currently, Coronation Insurance, I can vouch for, is a very good insurance company who at any point in time can meet the needs of your business with regards to insurance. So what do we mean by that? I'll give a typical example of something that happened. The NSAS, for example, was an incident that took place in Nigeria. No one expected that to happen. We didn't see it coming. It's not something we like to talk about. It's a sad event. It has come, it has gone, and we keep praying that it will not repeat itself. But one thing is certain, we are not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. By the grace of God, it will not happen. And like we all say as religious people, Christians, Muslims, whichever religion it is we belong to, we pray, we pay our tithes, we give offerings, and we believe that with this, God covers us. Yes, that's very true. But let's also work hard and work smart. Like the saying goes, while you're working hard, you should also work smart. And how can you work smart as a business person? You can't work hard for a whole year and then at the end of the year, in between, something happens and then eradicates or wipes out the whole income or profits you make. You can actually protect yourself against that. You can also protect your company or office items against that. This is why I'll be speaking to the fire and special peril insurance, which we have at the moment with Coronation Insurance, our partner. How does the fire and special peril work? We also call it the FSP. It's called fire and special peril. It also covers the burglary. Now, taking a look at what is being presented at the moment, like I earlier mentioned, Access Bank is in partnership with Coronation Insurance, and we're here to serve you by protecting your assets and operations from these perils. Now, when I say assets, what do I mean? Some people will call it, or some businesses will call it the inventory. You have various items in your shop, you have various items in your offices, starting from your chair, all the way down to the expensive table, the computers, the fireproof cabinets, the chairs for your staff as well. So how can you mitigate or protect your office content or inventories against risk of explosion, risk of riots like the NSAS, risk of strike, risk of malicious damage? Somebody just comes and decides to, damage the content of your office, risk of earthquakes, risk of storms, fire, and then things like flood as well. You can actually protect your items against such. So what do? You list the items in your shop, the items in your offices, right? And you specify the particular amount each of these items are worth. And then the insurance company will tell you how much it is on an annual basis that you will be paying for such. I was giving the NSAS scenario as an example, and I'll use it. We have some of our clients who at the moment had the same issue during the NSAS situation. And at the end of the day, because they had made arrangements, they had forecasted that one form of risk or the other would happen, they made payments for such, and such at the end of the day, they got payments for replacing or taking them back to the status of their business. So I'll use Olaitan Osho, for example, as a business owner. She owns a shop or an office that has items worth or inventories worth to the tune of, say, 5 million naira. And then at the beginning of the year, Coronation Insurance would approach Olaitan Osho and Co. Limited. Olaitan and Co, please can you share with us what your inventories are? And then I send a list of all the items in my office to them. The chairs, the table, the fireproof cabinets, the various chairs and tables, all my staff as well. I put out all this on the list. I place the amounts next to them. It sums or totals to a particular amount. With that, Coronation Insurance will be able to tell me, this is the rate you will pay for the content in your shop. Having done that, they give me a policy that covers the insurance for this. If at the end of the day, you have an NSAS event occur, or you have a trailer run into my shop by chance, I don't know what, maybe the trailer lost its brake, such things are covered. There's erosion that comes that I didn't plan for. From time to time, we know what happens in Lagos or various locations. You have flooding in various locations. It's also covered. Also, if I have, for example, a scenario where I'm moving one of my machines or one of my items for repairs to a particular location other than the shop or location where it's usually situated, if anything happens to that item in that particular location where it has been moved to for repairs or for whatever reason, or while it is being moved, insurance will also cover that as well. Also, in a case where you have fire engulfing your shop or your office, insurance will also cover for that. So this is the reason why we are coming to you as business owners, shop owners, that please, while it is still very young, it's the beginning of the year, please put this in place as well, so that at the end of the day, whatever happens, you have peace. And the amount being paid, which is also known as the premium, are actually token amounts. So, for example, at the moment, we have a combo being run by Coronation Insurance for items worth totaling about 4 million naira in your shop or office. You pay a token of premium of just 20,000 naira to cover for the list of items in your shop or office worth 4 million naira. And anything that happens, be it NSAS, be it erosion, be it the fire, be it burglary, somebody walks into your shop or steals something while you're not around, or somebody out of malicious reasons decides to damage your contents of your office or your shop, this is covered. So please take advantage of this and make sure you try as much as possible to ensure your office content and your house content or your business office content at the moment. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, Olaitan. That was very brief, just on the 5-minute mark. So I'm happy because we have enough time to take some questions. So I have a few comments in the comment section. Olatunji is saying it is the Finance Act 2020, not 2021. Olatunji, you're correct. It's actually 2020. Perhaps 2021 was said in error, but it is 2020, but it takes effect from 1st of January this year. We have Adebola. Adebola is saying that she hopes the recording will be available on the Access SMEZone website. Yes, Adebola. So we have recordings from our past sessions as well. So please, www.accesssmezone.com is the location to get recordings of this session. Olaiton raised some very crucial issues about insurance. For me, I think when I renew my insurance, that's like the best money I spend in the year because I can drive my car with peace of mind. And I don't care how crazy the drivers on Lagos roads are. I drive my car with peace, knowing that no matter what happens, I'm covered. And I think that is the level of security that every business person should have, with very various parts of their businesses that are exposed to certain degrees of risk. So please, if you have any questions regarding this insurance portfolio, we are happy to take it. In the meantime, I have some questions for Ayo. This one is from Aisha Remy. Well, not a question, but more like a comment that perhaps Ayo you can react to. Aisha Remy says the government needs to educate their staff on implementation, communication, and modalities of the tax, the new tax law. Ayo, do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, I think even Taiwo did speak about the fact that the government have a responsibility to be able to educate, and continuous education is very, very critical. But then he did also advise that there are a lot of bodies that MSMEs belong to, and that those bodies can always, as a group, also make their own. They can also, make their own demands, or as a group, be able to come up with tax issues that they want government to also be able to. They also form bodies of authority that can also educate on tax authorities. And then, of course, at Access Bank, that's one of the things that we're doing here. Taiwo is back. I'm sure Taiwo is the expert on tax, so he'll also be able to respond to those questions on tax.
All right, so Taiwo is actually back. Thank you so much for joining us again, Taiwo. And you're just in time because we are actually at the Q&A session, which would also require your attention. So Doris is saying, what is the government doing to streamline its tax enforcement agencies, reform and create awareness to outlaw inappropriate collection? Taiwo actually responded to this question during the session, but for the benefit of those who are just joining, Taiwo, can you just touch on this very quickly?
Okay, let me just apologize. So the other webinar I'm trying to combine is actually with the president at the State House, and they're having the very first national tax dialogue with many of the governors, and they asked me to be a panelist. Because of the importance of the audience, some of it to address the issues we're discussing here. So my session was supposed to start at 1:15, and they were faster than they were supposed to be. So I'm actually on the panel now, but I'm not the one speaking. So I'll quickly address that. So one of the things we've recommended to government is we need to create a platform. Imagine you have a single platform for SMEs in Nigeria that shows all the agencies you have to deal with, depending on your sector where you operate, all the levies you have to pay, the amount of those levies, and who you need to pay to. So if anybody shows up and what they're asking you to pay is not on that list, you tell them to go to hell and not come back. So in the meantime, what we're trying to show to government is that even you can play politics with how you spend revenue, tax revenue, but it doesn't make sense to play politics with how you generate it. When you create multiple taxes and multiple agencies, you increase inefficiency. And what that means is the money that goes to government is a lot less. South Africa, a country of 55 million people, collects more revenue from personal income tax alone than all the taxes Nigeria collects by all the agencies, from FRS to all the state to customs combined. Can you imagine that? So the idea is that we need to harmonize what we do. The processes are ongoing. Like I said before, it's very complicated. I will not, place a bet and say this will happen in 1 year. I think it will take longer, but we must keep the conversation going. And in the meantime, every SME business owner, manager here must gain the right knowledge to at least defend and protect themselves in the intervening period.
All right, thank you so much. There are lots of questions concerning the charges for Swift Pay. Ayo, can you just briefly give us a bit of an idea? Because there's a lot of attention around Swift Pay.
Okay, so that's exciting. Thank you very much, Chibeze. So SwiftPay being an online link that helps you to get paid, the standard charges is just 1.5%. However, we provide concessions when you sign up to our business debit card. That's also one of the access to market initiative that we have, initiative that we've introduced to our small business owners. That you sign up to a business debit card. That business debit card gives you concession on SwiftPay up to about 15%. So those are the charges for SwiftPay. So I have also typed on the chat box an email, omotalani.ketipo@accessbankplc.com. If any one of you have signed up or you have questions, you want us to be able to review with you for that, please send an email to that name. Someone is waiting right there now to be able to engage you. Where you sign up for SwiftPay, you transact with it and you post a comment on social media, would also be willing to compensate that effort with a voucher of up to 5,000 Naira. So access to market for us has become it's a critical component of our proposition for our MSMEs in 2021. And like I mentioned earlier on, considering what has happened in 2020. So SwiftPay is the payment link, but one other initiative that we have coming up on our sleeve is also a marketplace that would expose SMEs to up to about 7-8 million customers when you sign up on our Access SMEZone. It's a mobile app, and we have a marketplace on that mobile app, and you can become a merchant. So we're currently in the phase of recruiting for a merchant because we're still in the pilot stage, so it's not yet out there. But because you're part of this engagement today, you have the opportunity to be able to hear about Central. It's a marketplace that would give you access to about 7 million customers. We positioned it to be able to get our own customers. I mean, it's not a secret that Access Bank have up to 42 million customers. And on that Access SMEZone app, we have about 7 million customers that have signed up. And so that's a traffic that is comparable to any other marketplace in the country. And we thought that it would be a good opportunity for us to be able to support our own merchants and expose their business to Access Bank customers, buyers. So you have up to about 7 million. So like we said, it's coming soon, but we're in the process of signing up. You can call your relationship officer. I'm sure, Kunle, please, you want to also put up the link for anyone to just be able to, if you're already on our mobile app on Access SMEZone, please feel free to just become a merchant and be part of the recruitment process for our merchants. I've also seen questions on loans. One of the things that we are also pushing very hard to support our MSMEs are collateral-free loans up to 5 million. And these are loans that you can access digitally. We have the QuickBox app that you can download and be able to access loans of up to 5 million. We also have a cash flow portal where you can also get loans up to 5 million collateral free. So everything, all of the resources that you require to really be able to position yourself for growth, to be able to position yourself to thrive in 2020 for loans, to be able to sell, to be able to accept payments and not catch the virus. That's how we are helping and supporting our SMEs in 2021. So please feel free. We have all of this information on our SMEZone. But then the emails that we have shared, please send your emails to ask questions, send your emails for us to review further with you. That is all that we do. We just want to make sure that you're well positioned, to be successful in 2021. Thank you, Chief Wesley.
All right, thank you so much, Ayo. Now we have just hit the 1 o'clock hour, and I know we promised to keep this just under an hour. So we will take last thoughts from our speakers, starting with Taiwo, who is our special guest for today. Taiwo, any last words? But I think I want to kind of like influence your last words to a question that Doris John shared in the comment section. And it says, how robust is the plan of the government to educate SMEs and empower them on the provisions of the new Finance Act and issues bordering on tax?
Yeah, I wish I can say that there's a plan that I'm aware of. So to the best of my knowledge, I don't see any plan of the government to educate anyone, which is sad, but that's the reality. So what I would encourage everybody on this webinar today to do is find a way to gain the knowledge by yourself. And it's not that complicated. So Access Bank is doing this today. We should have like 4,000 people if everybody was taking education seriously. We have a good number, so I'm not saying that we don't have a good number, but imagine that you have this free webinar to gain a lot of knowledge and people don't join. So look for opportunities like this to learn from people who know what they're talking about. Some people just follow them online on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So when they share the knowledge, you can benefit from it. And also, as much as possible, I'll say, don't give up on government. Also follow, Ministry of Finance, budget, FRS, LRS, in Lagos. So whenever they put out information, you can also be aware of what they say. But I'll say my closing comment would be, we cannot give up on Nigeria. We cannot give up on our businesses. We have to find a way in the middle of the challenges to look for the opportunities and have to thrive. And some of it are issues to do with keeping record, following what's going on in the economy, and then, planning your affairs in a way that you optimize your position and not get into trouble so you can even sleep at night, close your 2 eyes and have a sweet dream rather than being afraid that somebody's at your door and there may be troubles, coming. So all the best to everyone, and thanks again to Access Bank for inviting me and even more so for organizing this event. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ayo, so what do you want? Okay, sorry, you were saying?
No. I was just saying, okay. Taiwo, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Taiwo. So Ayo, what do you want participants from this session to take away from it?
Okay, so what I want for participants to take away is for them to know that at Access Bank, beyond banking, it's the forte of how we serve our customers. We want to be able to give you value that helps you to be educated, value that gives you information that is relevant to helping your business grow, value that helps eliminates everything that has to do with ignorance, like Taiwo talked about. Value that helps you to sell, value that positions you to be able to thrive in 2021. And that every time you see Access Bank as a small business owner, just know that our commitment to you to grow your business is unwavering. We've also, I wanted to just talk about the business protection one, but I think Olaiton will take that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ayo. And lastly, Olaiton, risk. Everybody's running away from risk, but there are ways to mitigate it. What are your final words to our participants today on risk and how they can manage it?
Okay, thank you very much. In addition to what Ayo and Taiwo has said, I would like to advise everyone, while we're working hard, let's also work smart as we have always done. Let's ensure that we protect our items in our offices, protect our buildings, protect your vehicles, both personal and official. Protect your staff by getting good life insurance for them. Protect your kids, protect your household contents. You can practically protect everything in one form of insurance or the other for just a token. As low as 20,000 naira, you can insure your office contents worth about 4 million naira. And if it happens that the contents of the office is worth much more than that, then you can also proceed to also insure. You can make your staff happy by giving them good life insurance as well. You can also insure all the vehicles in your offices. Let's work hard. let's work smart, and let's be at peace at every point in time. Even when we are hearing there's one form of riot or NSAS or water or erosion or fire somewhere, your mind will be at peace because you know you have transferred that burden and that responsibility to the insurance company for just a token. And Coronation Insurance is that company. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Alaito. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our panelists for today's session, and most importantly to you, the participants, for tuning in. I hope that you have been able to learn a thing or two about tax, insuring your business, and of course, making better business decisions that can help you achieve your financial goals for the new year. My name, once again, is Chibueze Eguze, and it's been a pleasure anchoring this session. This webinar will be made available on the Access SMEZone. So please visit www.accesssmezone.com for more content. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your day.